The Cody Rhodes NXT episode disappoints in the ratings. Is Matt Hardy going to NXT? WWE's shock Ricochet plans, and my review of AEW Dynamite. I'm Ollie Davis, and this is the WrestleTalk News.
Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe. Because of NXT's recently increasing ratings due to TNA crossovers, sexy red cameos, and Shawn Michaels twerking, he's just a twerky boy. Twerky boy. He's not your bum toy. Bum toy. There was a chance that the Tuesday 11th episode of NXT could beat AEW Dynamite in overall viewership. Previous week only had 22,000 viewers between them, and AEW would be facing big competition from Game 3 of the NBA Finals. So NXT smartly loaded up the show with the company's biggest star, WWE Champion Cody Rhodes, to get the biggest rating they could, and they decreased 7% from the previous week, pulling in 718,000 viewers and a 0.22 in the 18 to 49 demographic. This is still one of NXT's best numbers of the year, but they would have been hoping for a much bigger rating with Cody advertised in advance. Even with that lower number though, NXT could still beat AEW this week, as Dynamite is up against that aforementioned NBA Finals game. And even if they don't, there's always next week with the 25-man Battle Royal, which Cody teased will feature talent from multiple locker rooms. In a story of wrestling eating itself, former WWE turned TNA turned ROH turned TNA turned WWE turned AEW turned TNA wrestler Matt Hardy has teased in his broken state. After I procure the TNA title of the world on Friday, I might just delete 24 obnoxious ants and also become the NXT champion. Yes. Hardy, whose AEW contract expired earlier this year, is challenging Moose for the TNA World Championship at Against All Odds. If he wins, it will be Hardy's third TNA World title. And if he also wins the NXT Battle Royal, we could get another NXT vs TNA champion match with him versus Trick Williams at Heatwave. The exact promotion Ricochet will be wrestling for next month is also in question. He has reportedly handed in his notice, telling WWE he will be leaving when his contract expires sometime in July. Because this is a contract expiration rather than a release, there will be no 90-day non-compete clause, and he can appear for any promotion he wants right away. So WWE wrote him off TV on this week's Raw using the new soap opera trope, death by Bron Breakker. But in an update from PW Insider, WWE might maximize the situation and use Ricochet one more time before his contract is up in July. Whether that happens or not remains to be seen, as WWE have officially announced on social media that he would be out for an undisclosed amount of time due to upper body injuries. Tony Khan has refused to comment on Ricochet potentially jumping, or should I say 630 centoning, into AEW, as he'd rather not get into wrestlers that still work for someone else. Now here's a word from this video's sponsor.
Are you feeling sad, little Peter?
No, I just have resting sad face.
Are you feeling down in the dumps because you're constantly cast as a humiliated figure of fun?
I mean, well, I'm not down in the dumps about it. I just feel like I have more range, you know?
Do you get sad when you can't watch shows from all over the world?
Frustrated, I guess. What does that have to do with?
Do you call the wambulance when your IP address isn't protected as you surf the web?
What?
The cybercriminals make you wee yourself at the office and everyone laughs at you as they sing, Pete, Pete, the man who loves to wee himself.
That is a half-truth. How do you know that? Who are you?
Worry not, little Peter, because I'm your friendly neighborhood Surfshark. And with Surfshark, I can make you cool.
I don't want to be cool. I just want to be me. I'm enough. I'm enough.
You see, with Surfshark, you can be the coolest shark in the sea by staying protected from cyber criminals, protecting your IP address, and watching content from all over the world. Secure your privacy with Surfshark now by entering the code WrestleTalk for an extra 4 months free, using the link in the video description.
Please, can I go back to normal now? I don't want to be cool anymore.
Nonsense, Peter. You'll be like this forever. You will be loved and adored by all.
Oh, God.
Now it's time for my review of AEW Dynamite. in about 5 minutes. Swerve Strickland opened the show with an in-ring promo to build his AEW Championship match against Will Ospreay, saying that Ospreay was a killer. He watched an assassin beat Kenny Omega to Kestra and Bryan Danielson, but he hesitated hitting a Tiger Driver on Roderick Strong to break his neck and end his career, the pussy. It's a great beat for their feud, exposing the psychological weakness in Ospreay's so far unstoppable rise that really Will is Will's biggest opponent, not Swerve. That and the main event angle makes me think Ospreay loses his first world title shot at Forbidden Door. At least he's a fighting champion though, unlike the EVP's continued swerve, which brought out the Elite to just randomly announce a blood and guts match, casually, while walking halfway down the entrance ramp. They're going to take on 5 of AEW's best, so they asked Strickland to be the 5th man on their team. He rejected their offer by throwing their sneakers into the crowd. Who throws a shoe? Toni Storm does. You're stealing her gimmick. I wonder which mortal enemy of Swerve's could possibly be the Elite's 5th man. For now, though, we've got AEW's best at home. Max Caster, Anthony Bowens, and Daddy Ass ran down to save Strickland from an Elite beatdown because everybody's getting a bit tired of the Acclaimed. The interim EVP, Christopher Daniels, then appeared to get everyone out of the ring for the first match, a qualifying bout for the vacant TNT title between Dustin Rhodes and Jack Perry right now. The structure of interruption after interruption made this whole opening segment feel like old WWE. Dustin bled everywhere because of course he did. Perry kicked out of a crossroads because everybody does. And Jack won with an exposed turnbuckle, exposed concrete outside, and then low blow in the ring. Guys, I think he cheats. Ruse's opponent didn't even get an entrance, so you knew right away he was going to get the horn. Which sounds weird when I say it, but he did at least get a name. Dion Rushman, as in Dion Rush. Man, didn't need to hit him in the face so hard. MJF came down for a great pull-apart brawl through the stands and backstage afterwards, which was a really fun setup for MJF versus Rush opening next week's Dynamite commercial-free. Mark Briscoe asked Renee if he could say something real quick in a backstage interview with Kyle O'Reilly and Orange Cassidy to then channel 80s Macho Man cocaine energy and cut an insanely intense promo. Kyle said afterwards, "I'm so motivated," and it gave us all this excellent image. Looks like Dion's not the only one getting the horn. The trio took on Roderick Strong, Takeshita, and Carl Fletcher. I know, I've seen this movie before too. Fletcher takes the pin. So it was a welcome surprise when he got the win on Briscoe after an incredibly fun and fast-paced match. Trent attacked Cassidy afterwards. Willow Nightingale was going to make the save, but Chris Statlander and Stokely Hathaway had already jumped her backstage. Both Pac and Shingo Takagi were announced for the Owen Hart tournament. Daniels announced that the Elite will have title eliminator matches next week. The Bucks will face the Acclaimed, but he never said who Okada's was, making me hope it's Horseshoe Tanahashi as a New Japan surprise. At first, with Hook and Samoa Joe's entrance, I thought AEW was just trying to rip off WWE's excellent follow shots. But then I realised it was Shibata who was holding the camera, and it was to just show how cool and flippant this team are about their opponents. They were debating why Taz likes Orange so much, and then went straight into beating the piss out of the premier athletes. Hook did Joe's walkaway spot in the match, and they won with a triple submission. Mercedes Moné beat CMLL ZU6 in a decent match next with one great looking move. Some kind of widow's peak set up into a lungbuster on the head, which Monet sold like she was dead. Considering ZU6's tag partner in CMLL is Stephanie Vacure, Monet's Forbidden Door opponent, I think the better story would have been ZU6 trying to deliberately hurt Mercedes rather than just having a standard match. Mariah May will host a contract signing segment with Toni Storm and Mina Shirakawa next week. Then goddammit, Jericho did it again. Suck me into the Jericho vortex, man!
I want TV time!
We got another TV time with Chris Jericho's segment where he teased throwing his new shirt into the crowd and didn't. Told the audience how to grow the right kind of corn. For Brian Keith to reiterate, "You want to grow good lame-ass corn, you better respect Chris Jericho!" And tell Private Party how to properly climb to the top rope. Jericho had been duped though, and Private Party took out his legs during the demonstration and beat up the Learning Tree faction. I know a lot of people still aren't on board with Jericho's new act, but for now, he is getting Private Party a feud on Dynamite. Yeah, he'll then beat them over and over again for the next 3 months and they'll eventually join the Learning Tree faction, but for now, he's elevating younger talent. We got a recap of Naito challenging Moxley for the IWGP Championship at Forbidden Door. The Bang Bang Gang challenged the House of Black for Collision, which saw the biggest return of the year. Cardblade! Daniel Garcia got an enhancement win over 70s territory wrestler Nick Komoroto in about a minute, with both Ospreay and MJF watching on monitors backstage. And the Dream Match main event saw Will Ospreay defend his International Championship against Rey Fenix, where they did all the flips. Flips off the top rope to land standing perfectly on the ground. Flips from a standing position, which might even be more difficult. Even flips when they seemingly lost control of moves, but recovered seamlessly. But the match was really the pretty backdrop for building Ospreay versus Swerve for Forbidden Door, which they did very neatly. Firstly, Will handed Swerve the signed contract on his way down to the ring, with Strickland sitting in the front row for the match, and at the end, Ospreay chanted, "Whose house? My house," hit a Swerve stomp and a hidden blade to win. Swerve and Nana sold the disrespect to perfection. To Will, he's just being a cheeky chappy, but to Swerve, this is far more serious. So when Ospreay kind of accidentally knocked Swerve's title onto his own shoulder, Strickland took it back and threatened he's lucky they're still friends, because if anyone else did this, he'd put them in the grave. There's my Swerve, the Swerve who I cheer even though he might legitimately murder someone. This week's Dynamite is 73%. But before Forbidden Door, it's Clash at the Castle this Saturday. Click the video on the left to watch our predictions.